Welcome to Hashtag Flint with Shayne Hodges, and today my special guest is Dr. Laura Sullivan. She is the professor of
Mechanical engineering
at Kettering University and a member of the community of Flint, and she has been fighting with us for a long time. And she was instrumental in playing, making these changes happen for our city, these positive changes. You were on the committees to make them. So thank you so much, first of all, for standing up for the community.
My pleasure.
Because you have definitely been one of the fighters for us. Because without the doctors and the scientists saying there's a problem,
and that's just being ignored.
Yeah, we would have been, and you sit there with me in the amazement of being in that show, sitting in Rachel Maddow, and
that's awesome.
We're here talking about this problem that, you remember all the meetings that have led up to it, all
right.
the people who have been involved in this water situation to get the message out. It's been one heck of a journey, and now there's been a lot of things happening in the city. You told me that we went from underwatch to now we have the best. Was that you or Mark Edwards that said we have the best treatment?
Yeah, we definitely have the best treatment. I mean, Mark Edwards said that last night, and it's true. I mean, people are concerned, and rightly so, just because you're told this is good treatment now.
Right.
I mean, nobody knows who to trust, but fortunately, a lot of people have a lot of trust in Dr. Edwards, and he was featured by Rachel Maddow, and there was concerns about, are we putting too much phosphate in the water now? And it's a valid concern. And it was really good that he was able to put people's mind at ease.
It's not so. Is it really good to put the phosphate in the water, the extra, into the system now? It's going to help automatically without bacteria being in the water, and whatever bacteria is in the water being encouraged to grow. Now that there's more of this, the water didn't I see a figure where it showed one set of pipes got fresh water 6 days and one in one.
Yeah.
So imagine that water that sets and whatever biofilms left or there or forming is like boom.
Well, and I don't know that it's so much that it's sitting.
Okay.
The water that takes a long time to get to where it's going just takes a long path because of closed valves and so forth. That it just has to take a lot longer path. Obviously, the longer the path and the more places where the water may change direction, certainly there's more places where it could be stagnant or it could sediment could drop, and then you create a location where should something cause the flow rate to change, stir it up a little bit. Well, then you have locations where there could be. The big worry is pieces of that scale that have sort of accumulated as sediment.
Right.
But I mean. There's one way to approach living organisms and make sure that they're not present, and that's chlorine, right? Or boiling water. I mean, in the developing world, that's the other option.
Yes.
And so you have chlorine that you have to manage to take care of that, and then you have the anti-corrosive agents that you have to manage to make sure that metal isn't exposed so that it can corrode. But then those metal ions that happen to exist can interact with those chlorine ions, and then you have another kind of aspect to the problem. So there's a lot to manage, but I really do believe that we're on the right path.
And that means, because I know, and even the water coming from Detroit, there's levels of things that are in them. The water reports say, they give you all the information you need, and where it is over on some places. Sometimes it reports high levels of these polyps and things like that. You're going to have those situations naturally. So
sure, and we always have, right?
That's
and the people who want to be accurate with their words are often hesitant to use words like safe or clean, because how do you define safe and clean? And we didn't, I'm sure that I know for me, there were times in my past where maybe I turned on the faucet in the morning and I smelled some kind of maybe a fishy smell or something. And I thought, I'm just going to let it run a while, but I'm not going to worry about it. That's going to be a long time before we don't worry about it.
Yes, it is. And that's the thing, like right now in the city of Flint with the water for children bathing and things, filtered through the zero pitchers or the the filters on the sink. Do you think the water's safe enough to bathe and everyday use?
With the filters? Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. But that's what's critical about those filters.
So the ones that are the Pures and the Britas, they do help for the problem, or do they call for different situations?
No. I mean, you want to make sure that whatever the filter is that you have has the NSF 53 designation, which means that it removes lead.
Okay.
That's what's critical.
Okay.
The filters that are being provided have that.
Okay, so that's good, because I've seen, since this all has started, I've seen a lot of different companies and people with water systems and water ideas.
Sure.
And everything says that one don't work and this one works, and people are making Facebook videos like, look, the water tester don't work. Some of them water bottles, the red light from the tester will come on because they flavor it over minerals. So
sure.
You're going to put that red light on, but it's still drinkable.
That's right.
And they treat it. And I was reading about where bottled water comes from. It's any lake, stream, river.
Unfortunately, that's true. I mean, unfortunately, there's not as much regulation as we'd like to see on bottled water.
Yeah.
But, we have the human mind has a limited number of things it can be worrying about.
Right, exactly.
And you have to have water to drink. This isn't one of those.
That's the number one.
That's right.
You have to have, the hierarchy of needs. You have to have your
food and water. Yeah.
Food and water. And then
water more than food. That's right.
Yeah, water it's so crucial, and I see so many people who are confused and mixed up about the whole situation, and they don't know what to do. So they're coming to the city for answers. They're coming to social media for answers. Mm-hmm. So, there's a lot of confusion, and a lot of people, when it first came out, like we talked in the beginning with just the mentions and the whispers of bad water, and it's being downplayed. People actually thought it's up until a couple of weeks ago, they didn't realize how important this situation was.
True.
And they're scared now.
That's right. And that again, kind of human nature, unless you knew somebody who had a rash or was getting sick.
Yes.
Well, it was, I can see how you would prefer to think that it's really okay.
Right.
Because it's a frightening thought that it's not.
And especially since you're being charged for it. Well, that's the other part of the whole equation.
Right.
And money is a key in this whole situation, and that's why I think it's important right now for some organization or something like we were discussing, maybe taking over the donations and the people who want to help and come make this problem go away, because like they pointed out, nothing is being done.
Right.
You're just handing out bottled water, you're just knocking on doors, and now we're seeing it scaled back.
Yeah.
They're not doing it as much. And one of the things, we are looking for volunteers. The Red Cross needs volunteers. The city of Flint needs volunteers to pass out water and go up like Slidell, them apartments. They're all on top of each other, and some of them don't have access to the bus, or a lot of people I've talked to are elderly, and they can't hardly pick up a case of water.
That's right. Water is really heavy.
There's some struggles, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They're getting these people in the water, because I feel like now it's important. All that water's been donated,
right?
So might as well give it to the people.
Absolutely.
Let them get that water and have some fresh water in the meantime. I've heard of other things like Aretha Franklin. She opened up a hotel for people to take showers for a day and have some food. So people are very interested in the city of Flint right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like, what I want to do is try to get everybody engaged and informed and know what's going on and how to make a change, because everyone has something to offer this problem, because we've all dealt with it in our own ways.
And the other thing is, it doesn't do anybody good for very long anyway.
Right.
To think of themselves as victims.
Right.
When we have a mindset, when we start to think of ourselves as helpless victims, then we feel kind of chained down. And so my goal is to involve the people of Flint in solving the problem.
Yes, that is the perfect solution.
Training, jobs, volunteer opportunities.
Yes.
All different ways that people are participating.
With the volunteers, if we could get people jobs, just doing what needs to be done for now, that is a plus. So could you talk a little bit about the plan that you have to possibly come in and make the things happen?
A couple different things.
Okay.
One, in talking to the people from the EPA, they have some really great and important ideas about evaluating the water over the short term. Really, just like Dr. Edwards says, we won't know that the water's safe until it's safe, until we measure it safe. We can't look at the inside of the pipes and say, oh, well, it'll be safe tomorrow or next week.
Right.
And so it's really important to have volunteers who can be targeted to go to certain areas of Flint where we've measured high lead,
right.
and we can monitor it like on a monthly basis or a weekly basis and see how it's changing, right? So that's the first thing. And then we've got to be thinking about replacing some of the lead lines that maybe aren't getting that scale,
right.
and targeting those specifically. Over time, it makes sense that we got to get rid of all the lead lines.
Yes,
but right now, we got to be thinking about those that just aren't recuperating.
Yes.
And then as we think about possibly hooking up to the KWA or how we move forward with clean water, what the next step, one of the next steps, which is I think kind of a cool thing, is they'll start to pull some of these pipes that they have replaced, some of the lead pipes they've replaced, and they'll build what's called a pipe rig, like a giant rig of actual pipe that has been under the ground here, right? And they'll assemble this large rig of pipe, and then they'll run water that has been through the treatment plant through that rig so that they'll know exactly what the water is going to be like at the other end.
Wow.
We know what to do with the water that comes in so that it's okay when it leaves the plant.
Right.
But we don't know what it will be like when it comes out of the faucet because of all the damage that's been done to the pipes. So the idea of this pipe rig is to not just know that the water's been treated adequately at the treatment plant, but know that however it's treated, we can predict how it's going to be at the other end.
Okay.
So that's a really great thing, and that requires volunteers in assembling, volunteers in testing.
Yes.
I have a lot of my students who are interested. I'd like to see students from other universities interested, and certainly
high schools. Definitely get the high school kids involved,
and underemployed and unemployed people from Flint, who will be would be very valuable to that.
Yes. So.
Then the second thing that I've been thinking about doing, and again, it sort of starts with my students but extends to the citizens, is we know that there's some fraction of homes that can't accommodate the filters, the filters that attach to the faucets.
Yeah, it is a big problem.
Right.
A lot of people.
Right, and we don't really know. We just know anecdotal stories, but we don't really know exactly what is it about these filters, or these faucets. How will we need to make an accommodation? And so I'm meeting with some of the plumbers from that area who can help give us an idea of the variation in different faucets. And then I'll have students who will travel with the volunteers and Red Cross and the state police to go to homes, and where it doesn't fit, take a photograph, get some measurements, ultimately collect enough information so that we know about a lot of the faucets that aren't working, and we know about the small set of filters that we're trying to use. And so the next step will be a design competition to come up with a small number of relatively inexpensive adapters that can accommodate them. The last step then would be to set up some kind of a facility where, again, people from Flint can be hired to manufacture those adapters.
Now that would be great to have a nice little assembly line, a few jobs, and just get people fixing their own problem. That is a I really like that.
And it's not, hey, this is your problem, you got to take care of it. But it's we want to give you the resources you need to be able to take care of it.
So, and that's fantastic, and that's why we need to organize all the help and the things we need to different places. Because now like you said, with the EPA being here, the EPA is allowed to come in now, some of their best employees, because of the Region 5 director retiring, resigning, or whatever you want to call it. But now we have the best in town. And they are
so caring, and they're so glad glad to be able to be here, and they're just, you know, sitting together and touring the area and working with Dr. Edwards and working with citizens. And
Leanne, she actually had them come to my house and they tested, so we'll be a part of the testing. So
exactly,
we want to know. We have an old house. It's old. It's been on the corner of McIntosh for a while. So right. So it's a classic.
And again, I mean, so you're talking about people in town, and you're talking about experts from out of town coming together and working together, trusting one another, and respecting one another.
Yes, and not saying, you're blowing it out, or saying we took care of that. We're within our limits. You guys don't need to be here. Right. That's basically what
we want to be done with that attitude.
Yeah. This is, you know, what I also heard about someone say. You know, we've invaded countries and rebuilt their cities. Why couldn't we come into Flint, like with, say, the Army Corps of Engineers or something like that?
I've heard that too.
Come in and just start digging.
And to some extent, that might be very valuable and useful, as long as it's not something that we can do ourselves with the right training and the right resources.
Right.
We don't want to replace ourselves
with the Army, right? Yeah, exactly. So we have to be aware of all the possibilities and collaborate and make things happen. So it's very good to talk to you. You know, Kettering's been you know, one of the front runners in all this water situation, and it's been an interesting time in the city with the information, and my goal is to get everybody educated on this so we can move forward and show other cities through social media and how to do it, how to get involved. If you notice your water's brown, it don't smell right, these are the people you contact, and they'll come in and they'll test and they'll tell you the truth. Not somebody who's going to say, here, sign this and don't tell nobody you have bad pipes. And we'll take care of you.
I mean, unfortunately, there will always be people like that in the world, but there's so many bright lights shining on this city right now.
Yes, there are.
I'm hoping that the kind of unethical operations that may have happened in the past
are done.
Well, they're certainly going to have a hard time doing it secretly.
Right, exactly. And that's what we need. Eyes on. If we have all these people on social media that follow these groups and pages and they watch and they're coming to these meetings. The meetings are getting full at City Council.
That's right.
We're paying attention because, you know, at City Council they wanted to pass a resolution that any donation that came into the city of Flint went to Communities Foundation, and that didn't seem right. No. So we need to be aware and be involved in what's going on. Pay attention, because that's my opinion of what happened here. Everybody was sleeping. There was this big money project here, and this and the water, and Detroit was under attack, bankruptcy, all that. And their water, like it says here, they supply 126 Southeast Michigan communities with water. That was one of the big issues in this water crisis.
Absolutely.
Detroit was under attack, their prices, because from my understanding, they were begging to negotiate with Flint.
That's what I'd heard.
They were cut it in half, stay.
Exactly.
Please stay. And they were like, we're going to sell the river and keep all the money. And build a pipeline.
A lot of questions there.
So, you know, there's the thing, and that's one of the things with you being with the KWA and on the board, you have to, you know, be it with all that information, because if you go to the website, it's a lot of reading. You know, reading and reading and reading. So that these things are all very interesting to see how they play out and how things move forward.
Right.
So,
but I couldn't be a good member of the KWA board if I wasn't diligent about checking into all of that and reading everything.
Yes, ma'am. I know you are on top of it. Yes. Yeah. So, and that when I seen that, you know, they put you on there, I was like, and they probably don't even understand yet. You know,
no, maybe soon.
You know, they will. You know what I mean? Yeah. And Eric Mays was a big appointment, and that's the thing.
And
you
he's
just
a
say,
smart
hey,
guy.
Eric, check this out, and you know
He looks
make
into
sure.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's very thorough. So it's glad that people are watching for us, and
That's
more
it.
people are coming. So
That's it. We just have to pay attention.
yes,
Right.
is there anything else you'd like to talk about before we go? Or
No, well, only one other thing that I'm starting to explore working on. I've had a phone call from an alum who has the resources to work on some kind of a computer, a platform, database, mobile app that would allow us, the city of Flint, to your point about donations, to not just keep track of where they're coming and where they're going, but to have an intent with coming back around to donors and demonstrating how their donations are making a difference. I'm sure that the very first people in the first groups that started shipping water to us, none of them ever thought,
right.
"Oh, and make sure I know exactly who got the water."
Right.
But it's still a good thing to do. And
Yes,
and Flint
definitely.
and the people of Flint want to make sure that the money that's coming from the federal government
yes,
is traceable, is transparent. The money that's coming from the state, that we see exactly where it's going, and I think, well, we should demonstrate that.
Yeah,
let's go ahead and
yeah.
demonstrate how you do that, how you take donations, keep track of them, and make sure they go to good places and the right places, and then beyond that, make sure that the people who've made donations can see it. So we're working on that.
That is fantastic.
Yeah. We're working on that with Melissa Mays
Melissa,
as well,
yes.
because she is definitely one of the point people to receive a lot of these donations. So hopefully we'll be able to put something like that together. And
I hope so. So we'll stay tuned to that. Let us know how that goes.
I think the more that we all see about how we're being helped,
right,
that's a benefit to us. But
yes.
there's also a benefit that comes with gratitude.
Right. And gratitude, we have
There's
to
a benefit
make sure.
that comes with gratitude, and so I think that our demonstrating how that's being used and thanking people for it, I think will make a big difference.
Because we have made a difference in giving away water and giving away filters. Because when they said, "Shayne, can you volunteer at the front desk at City Hall?" I was like, "Yes, I can." Because I will be passing it all out, telling them, about the situation and getting the word out. Because people had no clue.
Right.
So thank you so much for that, and it was good to see you.
It's good to see you too, Shayne.
I hope you come back soon.
You know I will.
And let us know. Thank you very much, and that's it.
Thank you.